Hey everybody, welcome along. I haven't made a video for a while, so I thought I'd better kind of dream something up, because you might forget I exist. Do I even exist? That's for another video. So, yeah, little project, sort of mini project here. So I've got this, I haven't got this, my eldest child got this a few years ago at Christmas, hasn't really done much with it until now. They're playing a bit of ukulele and keyboard, and suddenly they're thinking about playing the guitar and picking it up, and of course the strings are too heavy for one, but it doesn't really stay in tune. Sounds terrible. The tone is lovely, but it doesn't sound great. So little projects I'm going to do. I've unboxing 101 here. I've set up the truss rod a bit and everything, but I'm also going to try some of these. Just arrived in the post, literally just arrived in the post today. And I thought, oh, I could make a little video out of this. Some of these new tuners, machine heads, whatever you want to call them. And I didn't want to go too crazy on the super expensive stuff, but you know, we want it to stay in tune. So I bought some of these Wilkinson EZ-LOK. See those? So they're a little bit like the Grovers, aren't they? Which I didn't realise that this thing here stays in tune brilliantly. It's only when I compared the machine heads to the tuners to this one, which has got these kind of I can't remember what they're called now, the vintagey type style here. But they're very different, and those have actually got Grovers, but I understand the Epiphone Grovers aren't, they're kind of like licensed Grovers, they're not, they're still made in China, but I think they're spec'd almost exactly the same. So I'm going to go away and take some of these strings. I've got a set of downsizing the strings to Ernie Ball extra slinky. Not, I normally use the regular slinky, which gives you a nice bit of bite and a full sound, but obviously for 12-year-old fingers they're a bit too heavy. So I'm going to start whipping these strings off and then come back when I can start having a look at how these are going to fit in, make sure they're actually going to fit, see if the screw holes line up. I don't have to get a drill out or anything like that, and we'll see how it goes. Here we are, back with our modified, a little bit about the guitar. It's an Epiphone Express Special, which is a 3/4 length, kind of light, you know, travel junior model. So it's mahogany body, open humbuckers, and it really does ring quite nicely. It's and it's quite, I'm not going to put the amp on now, but it's quite powerful through the amp. It's got quite a heavy metal sound. But yes, yeah, so I've fitted these lovely Wilkinson EZ-LOK tuners, and it wasn't straightforward, I have to say. It didn't go through the hole, so I had to get my drill out, as you've seen in the little clips, and we had a little bit of, I couldn't find any masking tapes, I had a little bit of lacquer kind of, but you can't see it, it's split off a little bit because it's covered by the tuner. But you know, people pay a lot of money to get their guitars beaten up these days, and you know, I just consider I'm doing that for my eldest for free. That kind of, you know, modified, scratched and bashed service. Some people charge a lot of money, stick it in the freezer, all sorts of stuff they do. So, but yeah, it's a light gauge set of strings on there now, which I don't really like. I'm not used to playing. I tend to hit them too hard, so they sound a bit out of tune anyway. But it's definitely staying. Once I've got over the first couple of hours of the new strings, where they're kind of they tend to slip around a bit to start with because I'm quite lazy at tying them on. I'm not very methodical on that, but once they've sort of set into their position, it's definitely stayed in tune. At least on the top end, much better than before. Before it was going out of tune every lick, you know, every little bend. Something like that. The whole of the top end would have gone out of tune. It's just the E string that's slipping a little bit at the moment, but I think, again, partly I think because it's a light gauge, when you hit it, it tends to sound out of tune. But you could probably do the new nut as well. It's only the plastic nut, but you know, at the moment, my eldest is going to be learning to play, you know, bar chords. They're not going to be doing all this bending stuff. So I think I could recommend those, other than they're not the right size. This is obviously got a smaller hole than the sort of 10, I think it's 10 or 10.5 mil for these Wilkinsons, but you know, I've got tools and stuff around, so I'm always sort of drilling stuff here and there at work, so I was able to modify that quite easily without too much pain. But if you're not up for that sort of thing, then perhaps get the right size. But the problem I was having was these Clusen style tuners that were on there. Quite hard to find that style in a sort of locking version that wouldn't cost a load of money. Bearing in mind this guitar's a lovely guitar. You know, typical kind of Chinese built Epiphone. Some are very good, some don't seem so good, but this one's really good. But you know, it's worth less than £100, so, or I think £120 they are now, but I think I paid less than 100 for it. So you know, modifying it's not really a problem. It can only improve it, and I don't mind messing around with it. A guitar that's such a low price, and I'll probably be inclined to change the pickups and everything else, and the bridge as well. But there's no real need for a beginner. What I really wanted to do is stay in tune better than it was, and it's definitely doing that already. So yeah, I can recommend those. Say, other than them not being the right size. But that's the end of that. I hope you found that interesting and not too boring. Next time we'll do Am I Really Existing?